Hey. Come here. It's part three. Welcome back. Thanks for stopping by Two Hands and a Foot. Before we get started, though, go ahead, click that like button, click that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you never miss an episode, and then share this with everybody you know and then some so we can get big on this channel. All right, let's get into it. Part three. All right, we are back. Like I said, back again. Unfortunately, not in studio. It was only just for the weekend, but we still have our valued guest, Eric Whedon. Again, thanks for stopping by Two Hands and a Foot. So, chapter three, lesson three, part three, whatever you want to call it. That was a lot in that book for chapter three. So, let's dive right into it. So, chapter three, it begins with, if you want to change the world, measure a person by the size of their heart. And he actually tells two stories in this chapter, and he references part of one of them in his speech. So the first story is he's already in training, and they're all on the sandy beach in the morning, and they're getting challenged by their instructors. And in this group of SEAL trainees, it are a bunch of short people, like no higher than, no taller than 5'5", and this 5'5" trainee is getting just challenged by this instructor who's like 6'4", huge barrel-chested Navy SEAL instructor, telling this little scrawny-looking guy, "Hey, those waves are going to break you. I don't think you have what it takes." And the sailor is going, "I will not quit." And so then the instructor whispers into this sailor's ear. So then the second story is prior to training, about a year before Admiral McCraven gets out of college and into BUD/S, he's visiting the training site, and he's going to be trying to talk to someone who's in the SEAL program to kind of see what it's like and to kind of get a bearing on things. And he's at the training facility, and as he's waiting for his meeting, he sees this guy in the hallway who's looking at the pictures on the wall of SEAL exploits. And this guy's rather skinny. He's got, shaggy hair on his head, and nothing spectacular is projected from this guy. He just looks like a normal, everyday, average Joe. And so then finally he gets called into this LT's office, and they're talking about life as a SEAL and training and all that. And about halfway through the conversation, the SEAL instructor guy calls in the guy from the hallway, and he introduces the guy in the hallway to Admiral McCraven. And he says, "This is Tommy Norris, the last living Navy SEAL from Vietnam to get the Medal of Honor for his exploits." And at that moment, McCraven chuckles to himself, and the dumb moment came to him, like, of course, this is Tommy Norris, the guy who did all those things. Went on to be, the premier guy in the FBI's hostage negotiation team. And so he laughs and chuckles because the three SEALs that he met beforehand, the two outside and this lieutenant that he's talking to on the inside, are all like the original instructor, barrel-chested and 6'3", and what people would think would be Navy SEALs. And so in his speech, he mentions the team of those short individuals that are in training, no greater than 5'5", and how they were determined not to let their size dictate how they progressed through training. They were always at the front of the pack when it came to swimming, when it came to rowing, when it came to doing all those things. They put their heart and soul into their training and got it done. And so back to that first story, after training was done for that day, he pulls that guy aside and said, "Hey, what did the instructor say to you in your ear?" And the sailor responded, he said to me, "Prove me wrong." And so that's a profound statement. Prove me wrong. I'm sitting here telling you, I don't think you have what it takes. You're too small. This is too hard of a challenge. I don't think you can do it. And he said, I will. And then the instructor goes, prove me wrong. And he goes on to prove the instructor wrong. And so I got a few things out of this that not just can work in that kind of environment that we hear in the story, but in life itself. The first thing I see is don't prejudge.
Right.
And we do this based on appearance. For example, in the class that I'm teaching this week that you were here for this weekend, there's a man in there who's got a master's degree.
Yes.
In psychology, and when he's not in uniform and he's chilling out in the hotel, he's in surf shorts, a t-shirt, and a ball cap. So, most people would think that those with higher educations tend to maybe live in a different world than those of us who don't have that kind of an education. So right. You could do it both ways. You could see him in his military uniform and go, okay, he's a smart individual and all of that. Or you can hear that he's got a master's degree in psychology of all things. And so he's got a head on his shoulders and think that maybe he should be whatever. Or on the opposite side, you can see him in his surf shorts, t-shirt, and ball cap and think this guy's got nothing going for him.
Right.
So don't prejudge based on appearances. The idea is we are comfortable with lots of things and uncomfortable with lots of things. I don't like formal attire either. And so, if he doesn't like formal attire, but he's smart enough to go get his master's degree, who am I to sit there and judge his surf shorts and t-shirt and ball cap, right?
Right.
I like it. So it's the same way. These 5'5" guys had the heart. And that's the point of the chapter. The second thing that I got is not only we're not supposed to prejudge, don't judge. So don't make a guess as to what's going on before having knowledge. So, we can make a judgment on somebody based on their parents, but then also, hey, they're going to be worthless because of that prejudgment I just made. Or they're going to be awesome based off of the prejudgment I just made. And therefore, I should treat them differently. The person I think is going to make it, I should cater towards that as opposed to the prejudgment, that I made of the other person. Right. Without having knowledge. So you never know. Like a lot of my friends that have actually stuck as being my friends are the oddest of individuals that most people would not associate me with because of the fact that they see me as a certain way. And they go, why would you have a friend? Not saying that they would say that those people are bad people, but they wouldn't think that I would have those types of friends. Yeah. And I say it's because
social circles.
Exactly. I've been around different social circles. In college I was the jock, but I had 3 nerds for roommates. One of those guys that I roomed with, he works for Microsoft now, and he trains computers to teach computers. Woo! Genius. But it's the ability to associate and be in those circles and find something in common, even though the big things you may not have in common. I wasn't into video game music as one of my roommates was, but there were other things that we agreed upon as far as, our morals and foundations and such that we could discuss and talk about that made us, in the same social circle. And so it's getting to know people before you make any action on your part towards them or even against them. And so that's what I appreciate out of reading this book is it's yes, he gives us great examples, but we can apply that one to our normal everyday lives. It's not necessarily a military principle per se. There's the saying is, as a person thinks in their heart, so they are. That's who they are. So you find out who people really are when you get to know their heart. We're talking about character this weekend. When you get to know their character, that's who they are on a day-to-day basis. Even when we're having a bad day, even with me and this channel, I try to put on my best face for this channel, even if I've had a bad day. So people online only see what the best of others. And on this tangent that I guess I'm going on is they think that that's the ideal thing, but they don't see the hardships and stuff that go on in everyday life. You had a cold this last week.
Yes.
You suffered through it. You were on 2 episodes. You came to training, did our training and all that kind of good stuff. And so it's the heart. So I consider and go, Whedon is a man of good character. Therefore, I'm going to be friends with Whedon. So I think we need to take a look at ourselves. Even those of us who practice non-judgment, I think we still need to take a look at ourselves and go, is there anything else? Not just appearances, but maybe even like minor behaviors.
Sure.
Like oftentimes we can see things in our children that annoy us, but what it actually is we're recognizing ourselves in our children.
Yes.
And it's not that we're angry at ourselves, is that we don't realize that. But once we come to realize that, we no longer judge our kids, and we can deal with them in a proper manner. And so you look at your child's heart. Is their heart there to please you, to obey, and to listen? Yes. Then why am I getting so uncontrollably upset at something that they do? Same thing with a friend or your spouse. Why, if I know their heart, if I know their character, why am I getting so angry at what at an action or a behavior? That we all make mistakes, So I think that's the thing that stood out to me, is that yes, the stories are awesome, and read them and go over them, but the principle lasts far outside of the military, which I think that's one of the greatest components of it. Is it's not just a military thing. Yes, he uses those stories, but they make for great examples, but it's not a military thing.
Right.
So what else? What do you got to think about that?
So every one of his stories, especially the ones that were in training with him, those small guys actually wound up being the top performers in the class.
Yeah.
So not only did they make it and prove the instructors wrong, they proved everybody wrong. So I mean, it's said multiple different ways. The one I usually fall on, I got from a couple of different movies. I don't even remember which one I picked it up from, but it's not about the size of the dog in the fight. It's about the fight, or the size of the fight in the dog.
Yeah.
And that's all walks of life, like you were saying. Every aspect of our character. People that look at me wouldn't think maybe I am the way that I am because of the way I present sometimes, or at least the way I presented myself in the past. As I've matured, I've changed my personal appearance, and not because of what others think. I looked in the mirror one day and went, I think I like the collared shirt better. Yeah. As far as judging, though, it's a good idea to try not to judge people. Absolutely, especially at first sight. However, don't get upset with yourself if you catch yourself doing it, because it's actually a natural behavior and part of how we survive as a species, is making those snap judgments based on immediate information. So try to look beyond it, but don't hold yourself up if you get caught up in that bubble. It's ingrained in us. We can't get past it. Just understand that you can be wrong.
Yes. Yeah. Being wrong is knowing that you can be wrong, and admitting that you're wrong is an important process of growth.
Absolutely.
So awesome. Yeah, I do. Yeah, that was awesome. With being the top of their class. Yeah, that's a great catch. Yeah, the top of their class, and it's how bad do you want it?
Right.
How bad do you want that job? Do you have the heart to go and get that job? How bad do you want your relationships to work? How bad do you want to master a task? Go and get it done. So, yeah, great insight, great insight. So that's all I got for chapter 3. Anything else you got on chapter 3?
You pretty well covered it. I think I added about all I had to add. So,
All right, perfect. Well, as always, everyone, the links for everything that we've discussed are in the description. I'll again put the link for the book. I think I don't know. It may not be. It may be. It'll be a surprise whether or not I put it in a link to go buy the book online in the description. Because I've told you the last couple times. But go ahead and get the book. Read along with us. Follow on X, formerly known as Twitter. I don't know how long I'll be saying that either, but it's just cool to say. And then after that, hey, we will catch you on the flip side.